Good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to come join you and share my thesis research with you today. I'm here to discuss the increasingly important role of the bicycle in urban mobility as our cities' fabrics become increasingly dense. The idea of a cycling-related thesis first came to me on a cycling trip I took after my undergraduate degree to the east coast of Canada. On this trip, I began to realize the intimate and connected way that the bicycle could tie yourself to the landscape. And I realized that this same experience could bring people to the bicycle in the urban environment as well. After much research, I was drawn to explore how the planning and design of cycling infrastructure can act as a catalyst for behavioral change and the rise of a cycling culture, which is a condition in which cycling has been accepted as a fundamental part of daily life. A cycling culture has no demographic boundaries, embracing all ages, genders, and income levels. People simply cycle because it is the most exciting and convenient way to get around. The bicycle holds great potential in cities like Toronto, where it currently holds only 1 to 2% of the transportation modal share. Cycling eases traffic congestion, reduces pollution, promotes an active lifestyle, and contributes to a more vibrant civic life, all while being a fast way to navigate the dense urban environment. A surge in interest in cycling has spread across the globe quickly in recent years as people begin to acknowledge the many benefits that cycling can bring to urbanites. Despite this growing excitement, an ingrained bias towards the automobile in North American planning has created an attitude which resists a cycling culture. Political policy changes clearly reveal the potential for the bicycle. The massive population growth in the Greater Toronto Region has caused serious transportation troubles. In order to promote a more sustainable lifestyle, the government has developed a long-term strategy for the future of urban development and transportation. Examining Toronto Council's strategic plan, the City of Toronto's official plan, as well as the Government of Ontario's Places to Grow Act, reveal an emphasis on densification and intensification in order to reduce the commute times and curb sprawl. This more compact lifestyle lends itself perfectly to bicycle-based transportation. The Big Move, published by Metrolinx in 2008, emphasizes the need for a multimodal transportation system, where the bicycle can pick up a much larger percentage of the trips within the urban core. The alignment of the bicycle's qualities with the region's long-term vision provide great motivation for actively and aggressively promoting its use. In order to increase the number of regular cyclists in Toronto, one must begin to understand the potential cyclist. If these people can be convinced that cycling can provide a faster and more pleasurable way to get around, they'll be more willing to give it a chance. The frustrated driver loses 170 hours per year to traffic congestion. The frustrated transit rider is faced with a delay-prone system that can hardly keep up with the rush hour demands. The hesitant cyclist feels that commuter cycling is far too dangerous on streets filled with fast-moving traffic. And finally, the long-distance commuter is often left at Union Station far from their final destination. Building a strong cycling culture involves a multifaceted approach which addresses infrastructure, policy, and cultural perception. In order to draw the frustrated commuter to the bicycle, city officials must target strategies which make cycling appealing to the average person. I have found 3 key motivating factors for enticing the potential cyclist, these being safety, convenience, and experience. The consideration of these motivating factors are fundamental in analyzing the success of cycling projects and the design of new cycling infrastructures. Through this presentation, I will take you through an investigation of urban cycling at 3 different scales. An analysis of precedents at each scale is used to develop a design strategy for generating a cycling culture in Toronto, beginning with a mapping analysis methodology, then proposing a new cycling catalyst corridor, and finally a new vision for a multimodal bicycle hub at Toronto's Union Station. We begin at the largest scale by examining bicycle cultures and networks. Much can be learned about building a cycling culture in Toronto by studying international cycling cities. These cities include those that have long embraced the bicycle, such as Copenhagen and Amsterdam, as well as cities that have in more recent history, been strongly promoting cycle use, such as Bogota and Portland. In the interest of time, I will not go into great depth on each of these cities, but rather share some lessons I have learned that can be applied to generating a cycle culture in Toronto. Successful implementation in Copenhagen and Amsterdam have shown that transit connections encourage the multimodal commute and make cycling accessible to a much larger portion of the population. Bogota has had much interest holding car-free Chico Via days on Sundays and holidays, and Copenhagen and Amsterdam have gone further, creating whole districts that are only for pedestrians and cyclists. Copenhagen has developed a practice of monitoring the use and effects of cycling infrastructure and applying the results to improve its cycling strategy. These cities regularly update their cycling targets and write annual progress reports on their bicycle plans. Cities like Copenhagen and London have also built uninterrupted cycle highways connecting the inner suburbs to the jobs in the downtown core. And finally, cycling infrastructure should not look only to inspire the confident cyclists, but focus primarily on the hesitant cyclists who require separation from traffic. Toronto joined the bicycle revolution quite early, establishing the Toronto City Cycling Committee in 1975, which began many great initiatives. In 1998, major political change came to the city with the amalgamation of the 6 municipalities of metropolitan Toronto. This meant that the more car-dominated communities, which were less suited for cycling, now had to share tax dollars and political decision-making with the more cycle-friendly downtown parts of the city. Nevertheless, in 2001, the city revealed an extensive and ambitious 10-year cycling plan with the goal of doubling the number of cycle trips by 2011. The most impressive part of the plan was a 1,000-kilometer bikeway network, creating a comprehensive 2-kilometer by 2-kilometer grid which would stretch across the entire city. Despite this grand vision, today only a small portion of these new routes and cycling have been built, and the cycling modal share remains at less than 2%. In 2011, the plan was adjusted to focus mainly on off-road trails, building new on-road connections only where studies had been done to show that there was little impact on traffic and where the community was fully embracing the plans. Despite this limited approach, the potential of cycling has emerged in the downtown core. In September of 2013, Cycle Toronto counted nearly equal numbers of cars and bicycles traveling along College Street during rush hour, proving that building infrastructure does bring cyclists. More recently, with the pilot project of the Bloor Street bike lanes, we've seen even in these winter months a 38% increase in cyclists along that route. The Toronto Bike Plan's downfall appears to lie in its broad sweeping approach. This citywide strategy was unable to generate continuous political and financial support across the city's wide range of neighborhoods. I believe instead that community-specific demonstration projects have the potential to build excitement and public interest. Once one successful, well-designed project is implemented, it can act as a catalyst, spurring interest for further development in other areas of the city. This following research strategy seeks to overcome the shortcomings of Toronto's bike plan by studying specific patterns of bicycle use in order to locate potential sites and routes for these catalyst projects. The method follows 3 steps in analyzing trip data that I gathered from the Transportation Tomorrow survey. The first step involves analyzing patterns of bicycle traffic. These 4 maps show the growth and spread of cycling over the last 30 years in Toronto. Next, a GIS network analysis was used to simulate routes from the cycling trips recorded in the latest Transportation Tomorrow survey, prioritizing the routes designated bicycle routes. These routes were then overlaid with existing cycling infrastructures and amenities, as well as intersections with reported high rates of cycling accidents, to try to find relationships between the two. The second step of the analysis went on to identify, the second step of the analysis went on to identify and investigate neighborhoods in which the highest number of bicycle trips originate and terminate. The final step was to identify and investigate routes with the largest volumes of cycle traffic. One identified shortcoming of these GIS network analysis was that the cyclist paths are generated based on a computer algorithm. As such, they do not account for all the nuanced decisions that come from an intimate knowledge of the city. A GPS tracking study becomes a valuable tool for addressing these deficiencies. Using data from the City of Toronto cycling app, which was launched in May of 2015, I was able to create this map to verify my network analysis results. This data revealed the busiest cycling routes, but also visualizes less obvious shortcuts and hidden routes, which become part of the mental map of every cyclist. Moving on to the next scale allows for the applications of these mapping studies in choosing a route for further development. My mapping research reveals the importance of the following criteria in choosing the location for an iconic cycle route with great potential to draw new cyclists. The route must reach beyond the downtown core, terminate into other cycling routes, provide opportunities for multimodal connections, create a continuous north-south corridor, showcase cycling by occupying a prominent location in the city, tie together strong existing east-west corridors, pass through high-volume cycling neighborhoods, and be conscious of future planned routes. These criteria have led me to choose the Avenue University corridor as a new proposed test project. The study of exemplary cycling paths provide much insight for the design of a new route in Toronto. The following routes have all boosted cycling levels in their respective cities. The Lisbon bicycle path played a major role in revitalizing the city's waterfront. The Queen's Plaza Bikeway provides a safe and enjoyable route on a once dangerous, heavy traffic street. The London Cycle Superhighways connect residents in the suburbs to their jobs downtown, and the Minneapolis Midtown Greenway transforms a disused rail corridor into an important commuter route. The following design lessons can be applied to the new route which I propose for Toronto. A cohesive branding strategy can help tie together the experience of the route as seen. Rather than utilizing traditional street signage, unique wayfinding adds excitement while having a bolder, more noticeable presence. The Lisbon bicycle path uses large text painted on the ground to identify distances and nearby destinations. A cycle route is more attractive when it is carefully stitched into the fabric of the neighborhoods through which it passes. The Minneapolis Midtown Greenway provides well-marked connections to existing destinations and transforms the path's appearance to relate to the identity of the adjacent neighborhoods. Areas in which to sit and relax or to engage in other activities add to visual stimulation to the cyclist while providing destinations along the route. A cohesive branding strategy can help tie together the experience of the route as seen in the London Super Cycle Highways with their continuous band of blue paint, or in the Lisbon bicycle path with its repeated painted graphics and text. Planting and green space have a calming effect and provide people with a contrast to the often hard textures of the urban environment. The Queensboro Bikeway and Minneapolis Greenway show how a cycle route can also function as a linear park. And finally, unique design adds a sense of novelty and thrill to a route. The value of design can be seen in the thoughtful implementation of infrastructure, such as signage or bicycle racks, as well as in the larger scale landscape and public art projects. From my research, I have developed a 5-step manual for designing a cohesive and connected route with the ability to attract new cyclists. Such a route provides a safe, comfortable, and enticing experience, while at the same time connecting cyclists to the urban context. The foundation of this route strategy begins with the best practices standards of a ribbon of separated cycle lane enhanced by supporting infrastructures including parking, bike shares, repair stations, and safe intersection design, as well as green wave signals synced to the speed of the bicycle. In order to successfully attract new cyclists, the route seeks to move beyond this standard cycle track typology through a tighter integration with the community. In order to place a cycle route in its broader urban context, an identification of existing destinations and attractions is conducted. Attractions include transit hubs, institutions, cultural destinations, and parks. A site analysis is conducted at each of these destination sites. Finding shortcomings in the site's amenities, as well as identifying the site's users, aids in determining how to best enhance the site experience. Cycling infrastructures can be bundled with other programs and amenities to create an environment which benefits cyclists and pedestrians alike, while simultaneously raising public awareness for cycling. A close investigation of these sites reveals three categories of events which occur along the route's length. Moments of pause occur near clear amenities. Diversions act as forms of wayfinding, expanding the reach of the route further into the city. And finally, moments of passage refer to conditions and experiences which are meant to be had from the seat of the bicycle. The following techniques are implemented at these moments of pause, diversion, and passage in order to enhance the cycling experience and tie these routes into the adjacent destinations. The technique serves to enhance the programs on site, improve cycling accessibility to existing amenities, and improve the quality of public space. First, Cycling Plus activities activate a site by adding new programs to attract both cyclists and non-cyclists alike. Surface treatments are meant to control the flow of cyclists on the route, inform other road users of the presence of bicycles, and demarcate zones where cyclists and pedestrians must intermingle. Cycling infrastructures such as bike shares, sheltered parking, and repair stations make the existing destinations more accessible to cyclists. Public amenities such as seating, planting, lighting, and signage improve the quality of public space with which the cycle route interacts. And finally, technological augmentations take the form of interactive elements along the routes which create unique experiences for cyclists. I will now take you through the design of 6 demonstration sites on the University Avenue corridor, beginning at the north and moving southward. At this point, here the route intersects with the Beltline Trail. Currently, this trail is poorly marked and has no crossing at Avenue Road. The design proposes a garden to mark the entrance of the trail and adjacent park. A new crossing allows cyclists and pedestrians to safely continue along the trail. At the crossing, paint is used to spill the colors of the garden onto the street. This bold move creates an instant awareness for cyclists who wish to divert to the trail and for drivers to keep an eye out for crossing cyclists and pedestrians. Additionally, a new trail sign forms a wind block for a small picnic area, encouraging people to stop and enjoy the park. At this next point, the route passes De La Salle College. Encouraging students to cycle to school, a sheltered bicycle parking and bike share station are provided in a new plaza at the front of the school grounds. The nearby bus stop is integrated into the bicycle shelter, giving students a place to wait protected from the elements. New contrasting pavement reaches across the road, heightening drivers' awareness of the crossing and directing cyclists coming from the north or the west. Here the route passes by the Royal Ontario Museum. The new design enhances the public space by adding a landscaped lawn with new plantings, as well as a new public seating, which is currently lacking in the area. A public bike parking station and bike share are provided, encouraging visitors to ride to the museum. This site also demonstrates safe intersection design with bicycle boxes, advanced signals, and bike lanes painted through the intersection. At this point, the route passes through Queen's Park. The park is home to a series of monuments, but is primarily a place of passage. The design adds a new destination to the park. A new public square emerges in the southwest corner, featuring an outdoor cafe and bicycle repair shop. Passing cyclists can stop to have their bike tuned up or join a repair workshop. At Wellesley Street, the route contains a diversion towards U of T, one of the most popular cycling destinations in Toronto. After passing around the Legislative Building at Queen's Park, the route runs down the University Avenue Island. This underutilized space provides the opportunity for a high-volume bicycle path. Tree canopies create a natural tunnel which cyclists ride through. The space is further activated by a food truck stop and seating area. This neighborhood has much office space, but few restaurants, so this addition provides a much-needed amenity. Finally, when the route approaches Union Station, it descends underground to bypass the busy Front Street intersection, entering into a new underground bicycle parking station. To contrast the feeling of descent, the tunnel is brightly illuminated and features a lighting installation which traces the cyclists as they descend into the station. Now moving on to the smallest scale, we look at concentrated supporting infrastructures, which are major infrastructure projects which occur at precise locations to draw large volumes of people to the route. There are three main types of these supporting infrastructures. First are transit integrated hubs, which act as gateways for cycling for entire regions. Next are mass bicycle parking stations, which can be paired with these transit hubs or also located at compact commercial and employment districts. Finally, bicycle crossings traverse major obstacles in the urban fabric, such as major highways, railways, and bodies of water. An investigation of successful supporting a cycling infrastructure reveals the following strategies which can be applied to the design of a new cycling hub at Union Station. An iconic, highly visible design can act as a form of advertising for the facility and for cycling. Putting parking underground is useful where space is limited and frees up the ground plane for pedestrians. Direct access should be provided to the trains and buses from the bicycle parking facility without having to go back outside. The facility should provide additional amenities such as bike rentals, bike repair stations, and public washrooms. Parking areas should be well marked and organized, either with color or graphics, in order to aid users in finding their bikes. Cyclists should be able to ride directly from a bike path into the parking facility and out again. And finally, it has been proven that free, high-capacity parking areas are much more effective in encouraging people to cycle than smaller parking facilities which require a paid membership. Union Station has been undergoing and continues to undergo an $800 million renovation over the past few years. Despite all the improvements, little thought has been put into significantly incorporating the bicycle. In 2011, there was a small parking area towards the back of the station, which requires membership and has no direct access to the TTC or GO concourses. This new proposal seeks to reimagine how the revitalization project could have incorporated the bicycle. The design gives cycling a much more prominent position in order to boost the image of cycling and encourage commuters to incorporate cycling as part of their daily routine. The station connects seamlessly with the new Avenue University bicycle route with a ramp tunnel. To conserve valuable surface space, the bicycle parking is located below grade with a direct connection to the subway concourse to the east and the pedestrian moat to the south. Brown skylights bring natural light into the parking area and give life to the pedestrian plaza above. The facility is activated by a cluster of programs surrounding a central pedestrian staircase. A cafe allows commuters to mingle and grab breakfast or a snack, and a repair shop allows commuters to quickly top up their tires, patch a flat, or leave their bicycle for a tune-up while they're away at work. Also located at the bicycle hub is the city's largest bike share station, complete with a bicycle dispensing tower which acts as a beacon for cycling in the city and a form of branding for the station. The vast bicycle parking area with space for 1,200 bicycles is organized by clear graphically marked parking zone and enhanced by bicycle-themed wall art. The new hub caters especially to the long-distance commuter. Walking through Union Station's pedestrian moat, the GO train rider is greeted by a vista of bicycle parking, with cyclists effortlessly coasting by. Whether they leave their own bicycle securely parked at the station or use the bike share, they are liberated with new transportation possibilities. The bicycle hub becomes a nexus of activity, a lively urban space activating the plaza above. It is a destination where people seamlessly transform between cyclist, pedestrian, transit rider, and back again. The City of Toronto is at a point where making a major investment in the right places can set it on a path towards embracing cycling as a part of the everyday transportation network. Toronto can leap from simply maintaining the status quo to building a strong cycling culture. My thesis presents a strategy that can be applied to all cities looking to reap the benefits of an increased cycling modal share. The focus of this strategy is to develop a deep understanding of cycling in the city through mapping and analysis, enabling the identification of sites that have significant potential to attract new cyclists through the construction of well-designed cycling infrastructures and amenities. This design strategy targets specific areas which are deemed to have the largest immediate impact. While most cycling routes in the city are built as simple, painted lane markings, this approach uses design to elevate the vision of the bicycle route. The Avenue University corridor is conceived as a cohesive entity, carefully stitched into the neighborhood through which it passes. It becomes an integrated and visible part of the urban fabric, partnering cycling infrastructure with public amenities. The route's identity moves beyond the utilitarian to the iconic. The act of cycling is dramatized, transforming in the minds of potential cyclists from an unappealing activity to an irresistible experience. This route strategy transforms key arteries that can function as highlights within a larger cycling network. The route reveals the potential of truly integrating cycling with the existing fabric of the city and represents a paradigm shift in North American cycle planning. While citywide plans are important for supporting cycling in the long run, this bold, targeted approach provides the ability to jumpstart interest and excitement around cycling. Over time, this excitement will transform into dedicated support and facilitate the expansion and enhancement of the rest of the cycling network. The growing network, spurred by these catalyst projects, will allow cyclists to travel safely, conveniently, and pleasantly through the city, which in turn will become a happier, healthier, less congested, and more attractive place to live. Thank you.